All right, so shoulder cars is a pretty common exercise these days. However, a lot of people are doing their shoulder cars and still finding themselves in pain when they're doing it, or they're doing them incorrectly and don't realize that they're doing them incorrectly. I'm going to show you all the tips that you need in this video to make sure that one, you do them correctly, and two, that if you ever find yourself with a shoulder injury or shoulder pain, you know how you can modify these to keep them totally pain-free. And not only keep them pain-free and keep them from harming you, but also use them as a way to actually assist in your recovery going forwards. So I'm going to show you the normal shoulder car first that most people know and are familiar with, and then I'm going to show you a variation that I'll teach people when they have a shoulder injury or shoulder pain. As many of you know, I don't just make YouTube videos, I don't just make videos or in my online platform, Operation Human First. I also run a physiotherapy practice as well, so I've come up with some tips and modifications for people that I'll share with you here. Now let's do the normal shoulder car version first, and I'll show you some common mistakes that people will make so you can avoid making those mistakes yourself. When you're doing a shoulder car, you don't want to come straight up in front. You want to use what we call horizontal adduction, meaning you want to drag your arm as far across your body as you can without pain, really using that musculature on the inside of your arm and your pec to drag that arm across. And then you're going to start coming up into shoulder flexion. Careful that you don't get your arm going up by moving your spine. You want to make sure that when your arm comes up that your ribs are staying quiet in the front and that it's all coming from that shoulder. So we're coming across and then we're starting to come up into shoulder flexion. Then you're going to spin your arm inwards. So I'm going to take my arm and I'm going to spin, spin, spin. So watch my thumb come around. Now my arm is spinning inwards and it's continuing to spin inwards the whole time that I'm reaching back behind me and then bringing my hand into my hip. And then this is kind of our halfway point when we hit our hip. Then you're going to go straight back. And now watch my arm here. I'm going to unwind that arm and then come back around. So I've unwound and then I'm going to come all the way back around, trying to make the biggest circle that I can, coming back across and then dragging that arm in front and then bringing it back down. So again, make sure you're not just coming straight up. Make sure that the whole time you're reaching behind you, you're the whole time trying to spin that arm inwards. And then when you do that reversal, you're going to unwind and then come back around, ending palm facing up. A lot of people come back around and they come around with their palm facing down. Make sure you don't make that mistake, especially if you have shoulder injuries. So again, one more kind of quick once over the regular version here, coming across, coming all the way up into shoulder flexion, spinning that arm inwards and continuing to spin that arm inwards the whole time it reaches back behind you till it comes into your hip, then throwing it in reverse, unwinding that arm and then coming all the way back around and in front, ending just how you finished, which is with your palm facing up. Now, if you have a shoulder injury, sometimes we have to change this a little bit. And most people know the common, oh, well, you want to detour around wherever you have pain, and that's just common knowledge, or at least it's getting there, which is great because it is true. However, one thing to keep in mind is that if you're coming across and up and you run into pain here, okay, so if I get to this height and I'm like, oh, I have pain, okay, I'm going to cut around. You don't just want to slice your cars all the way across. What you can actually do is go, okay, I have pain here in this area or this territory of the car. Maybe I can detour around. Oh, and I can actually come up through here. Awesome, go ahead and do so. For some people, they might go, oh, I'm stuck here, I'm stuck here, I'm stuck here, I'm stuck here. Oh, but actually up here, I can come up a little higher. That's also great. So you want to kind of explore that whole circle that we did and find out what little cookie cutter shapes you need to make in order to keep them pain-free. But know that just because you have pain at this height in the front doesn't mean you're going to have pain at that height coming out to the side. So you might be able to work your way around it, and you only want to do so if you can do so without pain. Now, where it gets really confusing for people, and this is where a lot of people will make mistakes, and this is something I'm very cautious with my clients about. If you're doing a shoulder car and you're watching a video like the one that I just made or like the last rep I just showed you with a normal car, and you hear the instructor go, okay, we're going to come across, we're going to come up, and then we're going to spin our arm. But for you, you can only go across and up to here. Then I see a lot of people already out here spinning their arm inwards and then coming around and feeling a lot of shoulder discomfort. So when the height that you can lift your arm is limited, I'll often have clients wait until they get their arm past their ear before they start that inward spin, because you can't get up here to then spin, right? So if you have full shoulder flexion, you can bring your arm way up high, then you can get it to or past your ear, and then that's your spinning point. But when you don't have a normal shoulder or a normal car, or you've got a shoulder injury, you might not be able to get that high. So you're gonna have to keep it a little bit lower, and that's fine, but then you'll just delay the rotational part until you kind of get in line with or just past your ear. And then from here, you can spin inwards and continue to spin inwards the whole time till you come into that hip and then come back around. So that would mean waiting, 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 and then rotating, coming around, bringing it into the hip, and then coming back up, reversing, and this part's gonna look the exact same. So once again, instead of doing your rotational part way up here, you're just gonna wait, wait, wait till you're kind of in line with or past your ear, and then do that rotation. That ensures that when your arm's in front of you or when you can see your hand, you're basically palm up most of the time until you're way out here, then we spin. I find that if you've got shoulder impingement or things like that, it'll help you stay clear of those symptoms, and it's a really easy way to start to integrate in shoulder CARs. But like I said, keep them pain-free, keep them from adding to any problems that you have, keep a lot of space in that shoulder so we're less likely to ram things into each other and cause more inflammation. And then you can work towards doing the normal version as your arm can come up higher and higher and higher and higher without pain. Then once you can get straight up into shoulder flexion, then you can start rotating at the top. But until then, you might want to wait until that arm's out to the side and just stay palm up until that point. I hope that makes sense. I hope that gives you an idea of some of the common mistakes that happens in regular shoulder CARs, but also how you can take a shoulder CAR and modify it if you have a shoulder injury. So you don't have to necessarily avoid the whole exercise altogether. Rather, you can still use it as a tool to get yourself moving towards recovery, but change how you use that tool to meet your body where it's at right now. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.